Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called Discover a Psychic Approach to Dying. 3 intuitive tools that ease fear and bring compassionate assurance and peace to the process. My name is Stephen Dyna. I'm the founder and president of the Shift Network. And really for millennia, the dying process has always been seen as one of our most important portals to spiritual life. It's been something that we've meditated on, that we've been present for, and now we're starting to get more tools to enter into, or the whole time around death for ourselves or others, as a way to transform and open and heal in beautiful ways. And so we're going to get to explore this today with a renowned teacher. Her name is Lisa Williams. She's a life transition expert. She's a speaker, psychic medium, and author, and is going to bring us some really fascinating tools to enhance this part of our journey. So Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for having me. I'm super excited to actually share this with everybody today.
Great. And I want to let everyone know up front, we are going to have a brand new program with Lisa coming up. It's called A Psychic Approach to Death and Dying, and you'll hear more about that towards the end of the hour if you want to go further. So Lisa, let's begin our time together with a little bit about your journey and, why, bringing psychic abilities and the dying process together became important in your life.
It's such a good question. I get asked it all the time. And one of the things that happened for me is, because I was known for helping people go through grief and understanding what happens when we die, a lot of people said to me, can you actually help me take my mum through the transition of death? Or would you be able to help me take my sister or my aunt? And I started to help them navigate that whole process and really get them into a place of confidence that they were doing the right thing, that there was nothing more that they could do, empowering them to have very difficult conversations with their family members that they actually needed to do. So in my work as a psychic and medium, it naturally transitioned into that whole avenue of, let's take you down the pathway of the end of life process. Because if we face some facts, there's only 2 things that we can't escape. And one of them is sadly death. And I think if we look at it as a transition, as it's a moving on, I think it makes a lot easier for many people to actually get that concept and feel good about it.
Mm-hmm. So it's clear that it's like psychologically it can be important to make that pivot. So let's bring in the psychic tools. Like, why is sort of opening certain of these psychic channels to understand the process in a deeper way so important to make that psychological transition where we really see it as a potentially positive process too?
Yeah, I think a lot of the times when we look at it, it's the transition is a real spiritual approach. We are taking our last breath. It's so spiritual, it's so personal, it's so deep within us. And I always say, if you've ever had the ability and the absolute honor to witness someone's passing, that you'll realize it's the most vulnerable moment that anyone can have. And we're really getting into the core. Now, naturally, as a psychic medium, what I'm actually doing is I'm getting into the core of the living person, or the core of the person in spirit as a medium. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And when we are able to tap deeply into the core of us, and we're able to tap into our intuition, our psychic abilities, a way of connecting with our team of spirit guides, or maybe helpers, or other loved ones that have gone, what we're able to do is we're able to connect into realms much higher than what we are on this earth plane. And reality is that's where we're all going anyway. So I think when we're actually able to use our own intuitive approach and use our body and use our own wisdom, we know how to navigate. It's almost like we're communicating with the soul of the person who is in transition to actually help them. What is it that they need? And so therefore, when we're using these psychic tools, we really can connect deeper into that experience. Because it's not just an experience that the person in transition is going through. It's an experience for everybody. And everyone goes through it so differently. And I think that's very important for people to realize, that we have to listen to our own intuitive self to navigate that process.
That's a great overview of the deeper why. And so let's dive into some of the tools that you want to explore today. Maybe first give an overview and then we can dive into each one.
Yeah, so I feel, when we talk about 3 psychic tools, there's so many psychic tools. I can go off in a whole different tangent. But the one thing I want to explore is the body. The body, I like to say, is a pendulum. The greatest intuitive tool that we have is our gut reaction. And anytime when we walk into a room, or we're being introduced to a new person, or we have to experience something new, our first reaction comes from our body. And, whenever, I'm sure many people out there, you've actually sat there and said, why is it that I just don't feel comfortable? And it's in that space, your body is your pendulum. So I like to say it's our barometer, our pendulum for the psychic tool. And when we're actually using our body, we're watching out for these subtle changes. And if we think back to when we were a child, a baby, when we were in that place of, non-verbal, non-communication, we knew the basics. We knew when we were cold, we knew when we were hungry, we knew when we needed to use at the bathroom, things like that. But it's our intuition that actually tells us that we are unsafe. And so we have to listen to our intuition. It's that tiny little part of us, and it keeps us really safe. It's actually kept many of us alive. That time that you thought, I'm not going to go this way to work, or maybe I should contact this person. And so we're going to explore how we use our body as a psychic tool. The next one, we're going to be looking at psychic visualizations, really how we can take these moments and really get guided into what is it that we are looking to find out. What is the now telling me? Because when we actually are quiet, we're able to listen. We are so consumed with chat, being, bombarded by impressions of look at this, look at this, look at this. We forget that stillness. And then connecting with spirit is the third one. When we're able to connect in with spirit and have this beautiful connection, whether it's you hearing it, feeling it, seeing it, sensing it, just knowing it, or that little smell that you're smelling of rose or cigars or something, knowing that spirit is around us, that's actually what a greatest help, especially during this process. So those are the 3 tools that we're going to experience today.
Great. Well, thanks for that overview. You want to dive a little deeper into the body in the first one and why this sort of more that instinctive knowing is so important?
Sure. I mean, the body, one of the things that I always say is the body is going to tell us. And so there's such a thing where our gut reaction is so important. And of course, there's a science behind it attached to the vagus nerve that goes into the limbic brain. I could blind you with all the science. But the reality is that our body is this intuitive tool. What we want to do is we want to notice our physical sensations, how we are sitting in a very neutral space. So I encourage everybody just to sit very, very neutrally, very much in a very comfortable place, and notice what is happening. Notice what is going on around you. Do you have any aches and pains in your body? Is something going on? Do you feel fuzzy? Are you just not certain? Are you questioning? And when our body is having a little bit of a reaction, what we do is we often ignore it. And we've been kind of trained to ignore our body in society. But reality is we actually have to listen to it. Our brain is so engaged. We are going to be thinking this, I should do that, I should do the other. When we actually have this space and we come back into the into the body, and we breathe, we then can watch for these little nuances. And in these tools of certainly at the end of life, we have to read the space. You know, everybody has been probably impacted by transition, death, massive amounts of change in their life. And you can use this tool for anything, absolutely anything, whether it is a big change or an end of life situation. And what we want to do is we want to sit and we want to, it's really about how we act and react. Because let me just take it a little bit deeper. Sometimes we have these wounds within us, these hurts, these like little, where we're pushed our buttons. And let's say as a 4-year-old, your first death happened. It may have been a cat, it may have been a dog, it may have been your grandmother, it could have been a childhood friend. And that is like that core wound. And sometimes we act and react without thinking. And it's just taking that breath and taking that breath to center ourselves, allow our body to just settle in. And when we can settle in deep into our body and we feel it, then we are able to navigate it just by walking into a room. What is it that I need to know? Oh, and you'll feel it. So if I may, I would love to take it through a little process, if that's okay, Stephen. Am I?
Sure.
All right, I would love to do this. So what I encourage everyone to do is just sit and take a breath. Okay, so just take a deep breath and allow that breath just to settle you. And I encourage you just to feel into the body and feel what part of the body is calling out to you, what part of the body may be feeling a little ache, and just acknowledge it. But then just allow yourself to settle into the body. And so just take a couple of deep breaths in and release. And again, in and release. And what I ask you to do is I ask you to allow your body to be a natural sway. And so I'm going to ask you to find its natural yes. So ask your body to show you a natural yes, and you'll find that you're being pulled in one direction. And you may want to sit up a little bit more so you're not resting so much on the back, but you just allow yourself to go in a yes or a no. So where's my yes? Okay, my yes is actually, oh, it's pulling me back. So my yes is pulling me back. And so feel where it's pulling you. And then we're going to ask for a simple no. And just feel it. Where is it pulling you? It's pulling me off to the side a little bit. So just recognize where it just slightly pulls you. And then you may have a maybe. Okay, so let's see where our maybe might be. So ask for the maybe. Okay, so my maybe is pulling me forward. So feel where your maybe is pulling you. And you may struggle with trying to find a left-right direction. And maybe you just are hearing it. Maybe you're just feeling it. Maybe you just don't need that. We're going to listen to our body on a much deeper level. And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions. And I want you to see where your body is going to pull you. So just take a moment. And I would love you to think about maybe somebody that has passed over in life that meant some have had some importance, or maybe you need some answers from. So just think about them for a moment and take a deep breath. And I would love you to ask your body if now is the right time to get those answers, and just see if you're being pulled in that direction, yes, no, or maybe. So start to move your body and see where you're being pulled. All right. And now what we're going to do is you're going to ask them to, you're going to invite them in. You're going to invite your loved one in, use their name, whatever it may be, or the relationship. And what I want you to do is I want you to ask, was everything okay? Did I do everything okay? And just see how you're being pulled, yes or no, or maybe. And then you might want to ask, is there anything that I could have changed? And if you get a yes, then we're going to ask them if they're willing to share what that is. So this is when we're going to take it a little bit deeper. So maybe sit into the body, sit. And if you got a no, just allow this process just to see where that takes you as well. But if you got a yes, just say, allow me to feel what I could have done differently. Allow me to feel what I could have done differently without blame, shame, guilt. And you may have a little body reaction. You may get pulled in a different way. You may feel like, wow, I should have changed that conversation with my sister, or whatever it might be. Then what I want you to do is I want you to come back and I want you to allow your body to naturally guide you. And I would love you to say, ask your spirit or whoever is coming through. And again, use your body as a pendulum. Do you visit me? And then ask for signs that they may give you. So you may say, what are the signs that you give me? What may be the sign that I received recently? And allow it to just sink into the body. Allow yourself to feel it. And now just ask them, is there anything else that I need to know in this moment, in this short, brief communication? And allow them to show you and guide you with your body. And you may be hearing it, you may see it, you may sense it. And as we come back in to our body, I'd like you to thank the loved one or the spirit or the connection that you may have had. And I want you to honor your body where you are at right now. So just honor the back that supported you, the legs, the whole body. Honor where you're at. Take a deep breath. And just relax. Maybe start moving your body around and start coming back into the present day. You may have found that your body wasn't reacting as strong as maybe you wanted to. Mm-hmm. Or you may have found that you may heard the information, or you may saw visions, or you may have smelt things. I mean, there's so many different ways. So yeah, that's hopefully you felt the body move in that pendulum.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think of the body through the lens of the pendulum. And I mean, that's the basic principle of how a pendulum is going to work anyways. Your body is making subtler movements to move the pendulum.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole body doing that. So how do you suggest people build on that so that they can really activate that bodily contribution to intuitive sense all the time?
So I think what we do is I like to say that we cut ourselves in two. You know, we have this like natural like cut off here. What we do is we have our thinking part of ourselves, and then we have our reaction and our actions. And you know, we can actually develop it by just going to the grocery store. What is it that we're purchasing online? What is it? Should I go to a different place? You know, should I go on vacation here? And see how it fits for you. See how it feels. Because when it feels, when we've got this gut reaction, this deep energy to it, and we feel really connected, then that's when we're in full alignment. If it feels a little disconnected, then I always say don't do it. It's not going to feel right. So, you know, even going down, I did it yesterday, going down in the grocery store. I was looking at chocolate. Okay. We can do it at simple things like this. Which one does my body want? I knew in my head I wanted chocolate, but which one does my body want? And I held these two pieces of chocolate or two bars of chocolate, and I got swayed in one way or the other. And you know, that was the one. And interestingly, it was the one that I was not going to eat a lot of. So, but I bought it, but it was actually the one that I felt intuitively I was right for me.
Mm.
And we can use it every day. I think the more that we develop it, and certainly as a psychic medium, that's what I've learned to do, the more that we develop it, our psychic senses come in, those extrasensory perceptions, our sixth sense, the sense of knowing, our visions, our hearing, our smell, our taste, all of these things just develop so much more quicker when we are fully in tune with our body.
So how would you take this and best apply it in the dying process?
You know, it's a good question. I think when we're actually in that passing process, and we've got somebody who is going through that transition, you know, what we have to do is we have to really be a voice for them. Sometimes, you know, many of my clients say to me, why aren't they leaving, Lisa? I'm like, well, the body's doing its thing now. Can you talk to them? Tell them to just let go. And one of the hardest things for me is when I'm actually with them and they're actually communicating, and I feel their energy, the person who is passing, I feel their energy, I feel them communicating with me, I feel their energy working with my energy, and it's me working with that subtle connection. And so I may put my hand on the person's hand, and I'll say, and I'll feel it, and I'll connect into my body, and I'll actually impress through my energy, what is it that I can help you with? And it's so interesting because then I'll feel this slight subtle shift of energy. And in that slight subtle shift of energy, I'll recognize what they're trying to say to me, because they're using an energy imprint on me. And that's where I use my body as a tool. And I feel it and I vibe with it, because I've got to pick up on these slight nuances. Even how somebody walks into a room with the energy that they're bringing in, even with what should we choose, turn the bed a little bit, should we play some music? These are the things that we really want to use, that bodily connection to read the space.
Let's really helpful. So let's go over to the second tool that you wanted, and talk a little bit about how that can apply in the dying process as well.
Yeah, so you know, this is all about our psychic tools, our psychic visualization, and really it's how we are connecting in. And so what we forget when we're in this transitional space, and many people are, is we forget to stop, we forget to sit, we forget to meditate, we forget to pause. I always like to say space for grace. When we have space for grace, we're able to now start visualizing the things that we need. And these psychic visualizations are using our senses. And so, as I've discussed, our psychic senses, we have our hearing and seeing. Okay, so we're clairaudience, clairvoyance. And first of all, before I start using that technical phrase, the clairvoyance, clairaudience, these clairs that you've heard of, it is a French It's a French word. Clair is clear in French. And so I'm going to start using, you may have heard those clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. I'm actually going to use clear seeing. I'm going to use our normal words. And so with the sight, you know, we see things, we clearly see things in our mind's eye. We hear things, and we might hear words or whispers or something coming in a dream, or our name being shouted, sort of like spoken or shouted out. We have our sense of smell, and we have our sense of taste. So those are those two. Then we have our touch. So we have our sense of touch. Sometimes we might feel like we're touching something. And then we have that sense of just knowing. We just know something is around. So these 6 senses that we have to take into consideration are going to be on high alert. And certainly when we're aware of our body, and what we want to go into is we want to ask for insight. And we can do this with any part of our life, really. And it's not just for the end of life, but any part of our life. And we can just have a moment. And sometimes when we're in that space of having a moment, and we're really connecting deeply into the body, that intuitive vessel that we are, we're able to then say, show me, let me hear, let me see, how are things going to transpire? One of the things that I feel is so important is hope. And when we look at having hope that there is an afterlife, that life just doesn't stop where it is, or hope that I'm going to see my loved one again, or hope that this massive change is going to be okay for me and I'm going to be fine, because there's a lot of fear in it. When we're actually able to start visualizing our future, we're able to start seeing it. That's important. So in this space of using our psychic senses, what we want to do is, first of all, we're going to use it in 2 ways. You can either ask for it to be shown to you, how's things going to transpire now? And then take a breath. Rather than think it, we want to now feel it. We want to see it. We want to embody it. We want to experience it. So what we do is we quieten the mind. We calm the mind. We go into a deep reflective space. And then what we then do is we can also have visualizations for how we're going to visualize ahead. You know, it's more maybe manifestation. What's it going to be like? What we're doing is we're going to get answers from our difficult, challenging situations, because as a friend of mine says, we survive 100% of our bad days. You know, you have survived 100% of your bad days. And in that place, just having this visualization really helps us through these uncertain times. And so it could be when you're driving the car, it could be when you're washing the dishes or showering or doing something, watching TV. What we want to do is we want to have this space of calmness. We want to have a space of clarity. We want to have a space of peace. And so allowing these things just to drop in as symbols, or drop in as words, or have a feeling, or have a knowing, or wow, what's that sense of smell that I'm picking up? These are the things that I feel really help people in this space. And as we go into, if we put it into life, the end of life, it's a really difficult time. And sometimes we need that hope. We need that understanding. We need that connection. We need to know that everything's going to be okay. And so I think when we're using our own psychic senses, the visualization to actually help us, it's really going to create this sense of calm and ease for us, which I think is so powerful.
I wonder if you can also share a little bit about the use of communicating with spirits on the other side, in terms of like really navigating the end of life process with ease.
Yeah, I love working with spirit. I mean, I'm a medium, so it's important to work with spirit. And when we've all had loved ones pass over. And so really when we connect in with a spirit, or we're aware, and again we use our body to navigate, to feel the energy, or we may hear them, we may see them, we might get a sense, we might use a pendulum for it. But when we're actually able to connect in with spirit, often we use them to say to the person, hey, your mom's here, or hey, the transition's not going to be difficult. And when we're utilizing spirit have already done this transition. They've already done that step over into the other side. And I think what they do is they take away the fear, and they give us guidance and help, and maybe words that maybe we want to share with them. So I feel like there's such a connection, and it's really a support to know that they are going to be with them. They're providing supportive information, messages, feeling peace, and in this whole transition. And it makes you feel like you're not alone as well.
Hmm. Can you share a little bit more about how you can make those connections and really feel like you can validate them and get valid information?
Yeah, there's many ways. I mean, there's so many ways of doing. One of the things I always say is a good old-fashioned pen and paper. That is so powerful. I always say, if you can just take a moment, get into your breath. And if you get into your breath, then you're starting to feel the energy. And so allowing your breath to again regulate you, calm yourself, and then allowing that to give you that, again, tap into that pendulum of the body, and then ask for a loved one to come forward, or maybe invite somebody. You don't have to ask for someone specific. You can invite whoever you feel comfortable with. And then I would say, just start writing. Just start writing whatever they are giving you, or whatever's popping into your brain. And you may find that it may be, you might not get anything, and you might be someone who needs prompts. You might be someone who needs a journal prompt, or you might be someone that needs a little bit more connection, or more direction. And so what I would encourage you to do is maybe even ask a question at the top, and just allow yourself to write this stream of consciousness, this stream of information, and without thinking, without scrubbing out a word, just write, without even worrying about the grammar. Just write. Because what it's going to do is it's actually going to be messages that will come forward. And when you actually stop and read the writing, you'll be surprised at what comes through.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I know I want to circle back with the whole visualization work and talk a little bit about how the visualization tools can apply more to the dying process as well.
So using psychic visualization in the dying process can be so powerful, and it's really because that process, that transition, could take several days, it could be weeks. And it's really about taking that moment and just sitting. You could do it a couple of ways. You could actually just have a moment before you go in and see them, and start visualizing what it is, that how it's going to be. What do I need to know right now? Using that visualizing, using your psychic senses to kind of tap in. What is it that I need to share with them? What is it that I need to speak? What pictures do I need to take in? What memories do I need to share today and have a discussion about? Or it could be while you're sitting with them and you're actually having a space in the non-verbal. There's a lot of times that people are non-verbal, and using that, and really just using that energy, transference of energy. It's almost like an imprint of energy that we're doing. And say, do you remember this? And then just visualize the actual experience. Or listening to the breath, listening to the whispers, listening to the way that the body is what we're able to do is we're able to read the energy of the body. And the body of the person who is transitioning, it speaks to you. As we've already discovered, the body speaks to us. The body is going to speak to you of the person who is in transition. And when the body is speaking to you, you're going to pick up on your own psychic awareness of what it is that that body needs or what is happening. Because there are times that you might be going through something, or the person might be going through something. You might go, what is happening right now? And that's also going to help you. Your psychic visualizations and your awareness is really, really strong in this space. And I encourage everybody to be more intuitive in this whole process, because it is such an intuitive space. Listen, if there was a spreadsheet about this stuff, or bullet points, we'd all be fine because we'll just follow the handbook. But it isn't. It's such an intuitive place because it's going to be different for everybody.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Well, I've been asking a lot of questions. I wonder if there's some areas that you're wanting to make sure to teach about today that we haven't gotten to cover.
I feel like everybody should really, I feel like intuition is really the tool here. And it's really understanding how we can become more intuitive and how we can navigate that through the difficulties that we're encompassing. So we have to look at death and the end of life as an experience that is happening for us, not to us. The lessons that it gives us. There's some deep, deep spiritual lessons in transition. And I think that's one of the things I would love people to understand, is that, while it is a very, very sad time, and it is a very difficult time, and sometimes very, very hard, I feel that there are many lessons in it. And if we can become more intuitive and more connected into our body, more aware of the spirit that is around us, then we are much easier at navigating this journey. It's like a little map. We sometimes never know if the road is straight or if we're going to have a bump in the road. If we start tapping into this, then we can just navigate it so much easier and smoother.
So intuition is obviously very central to this whole process, and maybe share a little bit how you can use intuition to sense energy shifts within the person who's dying, and how that can help really bring this deeper sacred dimension alive in it.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. If I may share a little story here. I remember sitting there with my former mother-in-law who was passing away, and it was the quietest stillness of the night. It was 11 o'clock at night, which may not be still for many people, but it certainly is in a hospice situation. No one was there, and just being able to be in that space. And what I was doing is I was really helping her get connection because we knew that she was going to cross, and helping her be in that place of, let me show you how we can have this communication. And so there's times that she came in and out of consciousness. And as she came out of the consciousness but really couldn't talk, I then allowed myself to start the communication and tap in and feel what it was that she was trying to say. And so, of course, I'd start verbally, and, I'd talk to her, and then, start listening in, what is it that you need? Let me feel it. Let me see it. Let me sense it. Let me experience it. And what happened is she had an itch on her leg. And it was a simple thing. She had an itch on her leg, and she couldn't move her leg. And I just started to rub her leg. And all of a sudden I felt this, her body just relaxed. And I was like, wow, I must have scratched the itch, or whatever it was. It was such a simple thing. I just knew where to where to go. And it was so simple, but so powerful and really helpful.
That's about as practical as you can get to
Yeah,
scratch the itch that somebody cannot reach. Well,
true.
it's really clear when you open all these different clear seeing and cognit intuition through the body and psychic visualization really do become so much more helpful in the process down to the practical level of
Yeah.
scratching an itch. I love that.
Yeah, it's so simple. And yet sometimes we don't even think about it, even down to brushing the hair or whatever it is, putting hand cream on. It's so simple. And we do these things, we ask them. We're so used to saying, hey, do you want your nails painted? Or hey, should I get some hand cream? And then being able to answer. But in this situation, they may not be able to answer. And so it's really about feeling it out. It's really an interesting space to be in.
Well, you're just a fountain of really practical insights into how to marry the psychic abilities with your with the dying process. And I think it's clear that from listening to what you've been sharing is that these are applicable in just any realm of life, your ability to enhance intuitive skills. So let's talk a little bit about your upcoming program, which is a really unique way to study with you and glean some of the practical insights that you've developed over the years and apply them in both the dying process and beyond. So we're really blessed that Lisa has agreed to teach a brand new program for Shift. It's called The Psychic Approach to Death and Dying. Develop intuitive skills for preparing yourself and others for the final stages of life. It's at the URL psychicapproach2dying.com, psychicapproach2dying.com. It's a 7-week program. There's no prerequisites. And it really is just if you feel intuitively drawn to explore further in this arena and learn from Lisa. So Lisa, I'd love for you to share in your own words some of your intentions for this program and what people will come away with. And then we'll go through the modules and give you a little preview of what's coming in each.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this because I feel like, as I said before, I feel like we all have to, at some point, approach this topic. And it's a topic that not many people want to do, irrespective of religious beliefs, or irrespective of whether you believe that the afterlife is there or not. We have to approach it. And I often look at my own self. If I'd have been given some of these tools that I had when other people were passing away in my life, I think I would have been a lot more equipped to actually deal with things. And so I feel like this is a really important course for everybody, irrespective of where you are in your life, because it's really giving you the tools to self-regulate, how you can approach it, how you can best assist if you wanted to, and just be very, very aware of the process. My aim for everybody, if I look at my big intention, is to help everybody die beautifully in the way that they want to, because it's the natural transition of life.
Beautiful. Well, let's dive into the actual modules that you're going to be teaching. So module 1, cultivate your intuition, psychic skills, inner presence, and stability to help others compassionately transition to the other side.
Yeah, so this is really about helping you develop your own intuition, really about allowing yourself to become the best intuitive that you can, so you can start navigating this. We're going to look at grounding, we're going to look at breath work, we're going to look at mindfulness. I'm going to give you some awareness around a little bit more deeper connection to the body, how you can really be really emotionally regulated as well, because this is a kind of a difficult space that most people are going to be into. So we also want to help you self-regulate too.
Module 2, understand end-of-life emotional and spiritual needs to listen with presence and create a non-judgmental space for expression and support.
So what we're going to be doing here is helping you understand this active listening space. Really listen to what you need, listen to what maybe the person who is in transition and also those around, and really becoming comfortable with the discomfort. I feel like becoming comfortable in that space, because we have to become confident with it as well, and letting ourselves become personal with the environment that's around, and really feeling at ease with it.
Module 3, cultivate intuitive presence and connection during physical death to honor emotional and spiritual needs.
So this module is really diving in deep. It's where we're really deep into that heart-centered listening, being able to connect on a deep, compassionate way, balancing the patient and the person who is in transition, yours and maybe the family's needs as well, and start learning that non-verbal communications space, and really working with that ability to help that peaceful transition happen.
Module 4, learn self-care techniques to remain balanced, reduce stress, and better provide emotional support to others.
One of the things that we always do here is we forget about us. And so this is taking time out. This is your space for grace, creating self-care habits, journaling. I'll be giving journal prompts, setting boundaries, creating resilience as well, and have mindful exercises to really allow you to be strong and feel confident and that you've got this.
Module 5, understand grief and the subtle cues ahead of physical death to better support families and the one who is transitioning.
Grief is a tough thing, and this is it's a story for everybody. And so what we want to do is we want to understand grief a little bit more. We're going to start using those intuitive tools to help us listen a little deeper and to really navigate that emotional reflection that we need and recognize the signs of when someone is in that final stage of transition. And that is the key.
Module 6, how to recognize spiritual signs and deepen your intuitive connection with those on the other side.
So, of course, we're going to really take you deeper into how you can communicate with spirit, what the signs are, what to look for, how to understand what the transition of death is, and how you can understand it more and where they are. Why are they not coming forward in a dream? Are they coming forward? Is that a sign from spirit? Those are the key factors in this module.
And finally, Module 7, develop a personal philosophy on death and dying and a psychic ritual to ease the fear of death and remain connected in spirit.
So we're going to be looking at the different ways that people pass away, and we want to look at your own deeper philosophy here. This is something for you to really discover within yourself. We're going to be looking at how we can create letters, how we can create real stories for these healings, how we can connect to ourself, and how we create these rituals of ceremony when we're going to celebrate them, how we're going to celebrate them, different ways, because different cultures do very different things.
Well, I really appreciate your integrative approach here. They're bringing a lot of threads together, that really deep wisdom and psychic perception and some of the emotional skills to make this a really transformational transition. So thank you so much for the program. Again, it's all at psychicapproach2dying.com, psychicapproach2dying.com. So if you choose to move forward in this course with Lisa, you're going to get not only those 7 90-minute live sessions that we just described. Each of those sessions will also have their time to ask questions and do live interactive exercises together. There's also recordings of every session, both video and audio, as well as word-for-word transcripts to work with, study, and highlight. There are weekly exercises for home, a Facebook community to support you and deepen your experience, as well as small group time to connect with other participants. And on the page, you'll also see a number of extra bonuses that have been added to really enhance your journey. There's an audio meditation by Lisa called Threads of the Soul meditation. Lisa, you want to share a little bit about Threads of the Soul?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people struggle with, well, you're a medium, you know how to communicate with the other side. And so one of the things that I really want to start people off on is understanding how we can communicate from our soul to somebody else's soul. And so it's really about how we take in the thread of our soul, connecting it to maybe someone who's even living or someone who has crossed over. And so that meditation takes you deeper into that place, and it's specifically designed for you for this course to actually help you connect deeper into the spirit of a loved one, or actually the spirit of somebody who's still with us, who may be going through the transitional space.
It sounds like a truly fascinating bonus, and it was something you can keep returning to as well. Next bonus on the page is called Survival of the Soul. This is an ebook by Lisa. Lisa, you want to share about Survival of the Soul?
So this is a book that was a book that came out many, many years ago that I figured was such an important part here. And it's really about what happens when we die. If we have some understanding about what happens when we die, it settles our mind. And so it's a comprehensive guide into the steps about what happens when we actually transition into the spirit world.
Great extra bonus there. And then I also want to bring attention to one special bonus that folks get if you sign up by midnight tonight. And this is our way to encourage you to really tune in and get the clear sense about whether this is the right next step for you to move forward. And if you do move forward today, this is a very robust motivation to do so. It's a full video and PDF course by Lisa called Awaken Your Wisdom. Lisa, want to share a little bit about Awaken Your Wisdom as well?
I love this because, as you've heard, it's all intuition. And so this Awaken Your Wisdom is a deep dive, and with exercises, with meditations, and all of these PDFs and workbooks that you can work through to really enhance your intuition. And you'll be surprised at how easy your intuition can develop just through these videos that you'll get. So I'm excited to be able to share that with you and get you onto a head start ready for the course ahead of you.
That's a great reason to sign up right away. And then you have that head start and you get some really practical skills around intuition right away. So again, all of this is in more detail at psychicapproachtodying.com. I really encourage you to go through to the page and tune in after this call, read through the whole thing, read through the testimonials. There's a lot of very powerful testimonials around Lisa's work. We've kept the investment for the program very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128. You save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to begin February 4th and run Tuesdays at 9 Pacific, noon Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. So I encourage you to really take the time today, because if you sign up today, you're going to get the Awaken Your Wisdom video and PDF course, and you're going to get the benefit of all the years of study and wisdom and insight that Lisa has developed, and developing your intuition and applying that to the dying process in particular. So you're in really good hands, and I think you'll be very blessed if you move forward. So Lisa, anything that's still on your heart we haven't gotten to share yet for folks who are considering joining you in the full course on a psychic approach to death and dying?
Yeah, I feel like, and thank you, Stephen, for actually sharing all of that. I mean, I feel very, very blessed to be able to share this. And I think one of the things that we have to realize is it's not all doom and gloom. And the one thing I really encourage is we have, as much as death is a very tough situation, we do have a lot of fun. I like to enjoy this space. It's a beautiful place for us to really discover together. And so we have a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughter. We want to share memories. I want to hear you. I want to really, really listen to what you are wanting to share. So I encourage everybody to come along, because this is a deeply, deeply moving course where you can unlock a lot of things about yourself and others as well, about the transitional space. So come along and join me. I'm excited to teach this.
Well, thank you for that warm invitation, and you're just, yeah, really warm presence and deep wisdom around this really important transition that gets too little attention in our life. And so to be able to really apply all the best spiritual and psychic skills to that process is such a blessing. So again, you can get all the details at psychicapproachtodying.com, psychicapproachtodying.com, and you'll get that special Awaken Your Wisdom video and PDF course if you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you, Lisa, and thank you everybody for joining, and many blessings to you. And if you're called to move forward, you are warmly welcome to do so at psychicapproachtodying.com, psychicapproachtodying.com. So thank you so much. Many blessings.
Thank you.